Hello there and welcome to our JVS podcast. Today we will be covering resumes for your job search. First things first, what is a resume? A resume is a selling tool that outlines your skills and experiences so an employer can see at a glance how you can contribute to the employer's workplace. Your resume is the first item that a potential employer encounters and is used to screen applicants. Your resume should be no longer than 1 to 2 pages and should be tailored to every specific job you are applying for. What this means for you is that the days of writing one resume and blasting it out to 50 employers in one day are long gone. What's more important is that each resume is catered to a job or company and even uses the same language a company or job posting uses. Think quality over quantity. It's better to send fewer excellent targeted resumes than a lot of mediocre ones. First, let's discuss the 2 formats of resumes that we recommend, chronological and the functional chronological combination. A chronological resume format is one that lists your work history in reverse chronological order, starting with your most recent work experience and going back from there. Chronological resumes are the most traditional style of resumes and are generally the most widely accepted among employers. They are easy to read, show job stability, emphasize job titles and companies, and show your growth well. They can also infer a lot about age and can highlight gaps if you have any. Chronological resumes have a lot of strengths, but they don't work for everyone. Here are some reasons why the chronological resume could be a good fit for you. If you have good work history, meaning you've had mostly jobs of 2 years or more, if you have few gaps in your experience, and if you've worked for pretty good companies. If you've shown career advancement within a career field and you want to stay in that field, and if you haven't changed jobs or industries regularly. Some reasons why you might not want to use a chronological resume are if you do have gaps in your work experience and have a hard time showing longevity in your jobs, or if you're planning a career change. A functional chronological combination resume, which from now on I'll call functional combination resume, is a good choice if you'd rather focus on your skills than on your employment history. So, if you have large gaps in employment, are a recent graduate, are applying for a job in a new industry, have had numerous job changes, or if you think age could be a barrier, this format may be a good choice for you. The functional combination resume highlights your accomplishments and strengths, eliminates repetition and redundancy of similar jobs, allows for flexibility in how you present yourself, and allows you to draw from diverse volunteer experiences, interests, and skills that have not been a part of your past employment. The disadvantages to this type of resume are that it de-emphasizes specific job titles and companies, does not highlight longevity, shows limited job duties, and is sometimes more confusing to employers. Ultimately, the decision is yours. You can even have resumes in both formats and use one or the other depending on the job title, industry, particular situation, or employer. Take a minute or 2 right now to consider which resume format or formats you plan to use. Pause this podcast if you need to make this decision. Now let's spend some time discussing the components of a chronological resume and a functional combination resume. Keep in mind which format you plan to use as you listen to these tips. Both types of resumes should begin with a heading. That's your name, city and state, email, and phone number. Whether you also include your address on your resume is up to you. Ensure that you have a professional email address as well. If your current email address is not professional, consider opening another with one of the many free online options. As for the phone number, only list one that has a professional voice message. There's no need to list multiple phone numbers. This can confuse the employer. Next is the objective. Should you have one or not? Well, again, this is up to you. One survey indicates that about 40% of employers want to see an objective on a resume. If 40% of employers would be annoyed not to see an objective on a resume, using one may be the safest choice. Objectives can help sharpen the focus of a resume, especially if your experience is diverse or if you are switching into a career not supported by your professional experience. However, some people choose not to use an objective and instead use a summary section, which we will talk about next. It's your call, but if you're going to use an objective, make sure it is specific, tailored to the job posting and/or company, and should say what you can contribute as an employee. Here's an example of a weak objective. Administrative assistant, where I can use my skills and abilities to help a company. Here's an example of a stronger objective. To obtain administrative assistant role at company X, where I can contribute my excellent customer service and technical skills to increase the efficiency and growth of the company. The summary of qualifications is the next section on a resume. Everyone should have a summary section at the top of their resume. You can call it many things: summary of skills, summary of qualifications, highlights of skills, profile, etc. It's up to you. What matters most is that you have one. This is a section with maybe 4 to 7 bullets with the most relevant skills and accomplishments you have for a specific job. Ask yourself, if an employer could only remember 4 to 7 things about you as a potential employee, what would you want them to be? The summary is how you attract the reader's attention to want to continue reading. It will include things like your number of years of experience, fields of specialization, associations, memberships, awards, technical skills, and written and spoken languages. Make sure it's all relevant and written in a way that makes someone want to learn more about you. The next section is where the chronological and functional combination format differ. In a chronological resume, the next section is your professional experience. We suggest calling this section professional or relevant experience rather than employment history, so that you can include unpaid work like volunteer experience or internships if needed. You should list your professional experience with your position first, then employer, city, state, then dates of employment, and a few bullets describing your work. For the dates, listing the month and year is sufficient. For the bullets that explain your work, make sure you use action verbs, which we will discuss in a few minutes. Keep in mind there's no need to go beyond 10 years of past work experience. In a functional combination resume, the 4th section is your relevant skills and accomplishments. This is where you can make a list of skills and functions that align with the job you're applying for, and which are similar to the things you've done or learned in the past. Frame as much as possible as an accomplishment statement using the STAR method, STAR, or situation, task, action, result. Talk about certifications you have, use quantities and numbers whenever possible, and include your relevant experience and education. You probably want to separate these skills and accomplishments into 2 or 3 different categories, such as customer service skills, technical skills, administrative skills. Think what matters most to the position you're applying for. For this functional combination resume format, your professional experience is the 5th category. When using this resume format, you only need to list the position, employer, city, state, and dates of employment when listing your professional experience. Keep this section short and sweet, since what you want to focus on in this resume format are your relevant skills and accomplishments. The last section in both a chronological and functional combination resume should be your education. It's not necessary to list all of your education, especially if you're worried about seeming overqualified or unfocused, but put what is relevant. Also, you do not need to put the year you graduated or received a certificate on your resume. Sometimes it makes sense to list the dates of your education because you might be a recent college graduate, or you may just have finished another degree or training program. Listing the dates of your education can show that your degree or certificate is up to date, and these dates can potentially explain a gap in your work history. In other cases, you may not want to list the dates of your education because it can infer information about your age. You'll need to make the decision that makes the most sense for you and your job search. We do not recommend having other sections than the ones I've just mentioned. Things like your interests and hobbies don't belong on a professional resume, and other things like your awards and language skills belong in your summary section at the top of your resume. If, however, you have a hobby that is relevant to the job, company, or industry, then put it in your summary section. It may be the thing that makes you stand out above the rest. Just make sure it is relevant.